Here we are back at our observation rubric, looking at practice number 1. And we're also seeing our BCAIP observation score sheet. There should be a link to this score sheet in this module or slide or whatever it is you're looking at. I'm not sure what the exact structure will be, but you should have this. This is what we have developed to use kind of while you're doing your actual observation to help you capture data. And this is something that we developed as we were going through and developing the rubric as something that was just useful for us because we were scoring a bunch of practice videos. So I really liked this, and I'm going to show you how I used it. You do not have to use it, but I would definitely recommend it. So you'll start by putting in this information here, the person you're observing, your name, the date, the times of the lesson, the modality, whether you're watching a video or you're sitting in the class. So focusing on practice number 1. Down here we have here's the name of our practice. You can see practice number 2 down here. So we're just focusing on this part. And here we just have our opportunity text, sub-practice A, supports text, or sub-practice B. It's same thing as here and here. Here's where you can collect data. So what I like to do when I'm scoring, let's say we're just scoring for this practice, you'll be watching your observation, whether it's a video or in person. You're going to start looking for that data that's specific to level 1, which is really, is there an identifiable objective / disciplinary concept / skill or procedure. Really, like, is there a disciplinary topic that you can identify? And then is the teacher also making a connection to prior or future topics or disciplinary content? So here's where I would start looking for this immediately, right as when the when the observation begins. I'd be looking around like, okay, is there anything written on the board? Is there anything written on any handouts that the teacher has given out on the slide? Is the teacher saying something that's indicating what the topic is? And if that never comes, if you're never made aware of the disciplinary topic, then that's all you need to know. It's going to be no evidence. Actually, it's just going to be a no evidence for opportunity. Excuse me. I'm still learning how to use this rubric too. Okay. So once you have established that there is a lesson focus that you're aware of, and that the teacher has made some reference to ongoing content, and again, this could be something that's on the board, on a handout, that they mention, it just needs to be momentary, right? So that's all you're looking for. Then you could say, then I would type it in and I would give a timestamp and say something at like 1 minute and 30 seconds. Teacher says that the topic of the day is evolution. I don't know. And then maybe 2 minutes. Remember last week we talked about population size. This is related. Blah, blah, blah. That's they're making a momentary connection to ongoing learning. Okay, so now you know you're at least a 1. Okay, so as you keep watching, you're going to be looking, are the students being made explicitly aware? Okay, so if you notice that, like the um, teacher really maybe not just mentioning the topic, but really expanding on it, maybe giving some detail, talking, just sort of being emphatic, emphasizing the topic. Um, and also emphasizing the relationship to a central disciplinary idea that is spanning multiple lessons, excuse me. Um, then you'll know that you're getting towards a level 2. So if you're seeing that, and I'm not going to write out examples for everyone because that would take forever, but if you start seeing that, then you could, give a timestamp, write down your evidence, and you would say maybe could be a level 2. And then if you have seen these things, then you might start looking to see if they might get to a level 3. So here, this first part, we have students being made aware of the lesson topic and its relationships. So that's kind of a level 2. And then we're adding the lesson focus is and related central disciplinary ideas are contextualized through natural phenomenon, real world problem, application, or theme. So this is where we would need to see that opportunity for students to engage with an issue, a real world issue, and be able to start using the tools of your discipline to think through, make sense of, problem solve around that issue or application. So you would want to be seeing something like we talked about in the last video, like the Flint, Michigan water crisis, and using mathematics to problem solve and develop solutions for that issue. And again, if you are seeing that happen, you would take note of it, give timestamps, and get to a level 3. And so you don't need to worry about this column. I wouldn't until the very end. At the end, I like to go back and look at all my evidence and then give a score based on the evidence. Okay, so for supports, we are going to be really looking for connections to students' knowledges, students' lived experiences. So at a level 1, to get to a level 1, we would need to see a teacher making at least a loose connection between ideas, the disciplinary ideas, and students' ideas or lived experiences. It doesn't need to be very sophisticated to get to a level 1. This is very unsophisticated version of this practice. So it could even be biased or stereotyped. Not that we want to see that. But yeah, just something really simple. Again, you'd come over here, give your timestamp, write down the evidence, and keep looking and see, maybe you'll get to a level 2 where the teacher is making that connection between disciplinary ideas and students' experiences, but they're making it very clearly. They're making it emphatically, and we're not making assumptions about students' experiences at this point. The teacher is talking about students or making connections to students' actual out-of-school experiences that are clearly known to them. So that's kind of it's a big difference in terms of practice. It's a subtle difference possibly in terms of how you could observe this practice. But again, we're looking for very evidence-based scoring here. So you can always just write down what you're hearing, the connections that they're making. And we can think about, how well did the teacher really know that that was the student's experience? Was it an assumption they're making? You could possibly reflect on that later, or even talk it over with, someone else in the group to get another opinion. The research group. And then to get to a level 3, we're doing all those things at a level 2, but the teacher or students are using translanguaging moves to enhance these connections that are being made. So we're using translanguaging moves to make clear connections between disciplinary ideas and known lived experiences, and that connection frames central disciplinary ideas over multiple lessons or even an entire unit. So you would need to see evidence that like the out of school experiences, knowledges, wisdom, worlds, communities, etc. of the students were being baked into the curricular design of the course over multiple days. So yeah, that idea of like students being interested in slam poetry, so that becomes a theme for multiple days, into which disciplinary ideas are sort of like interwoven and made relevant. Okay, I think hopefully that's enough on this practice, and hopefully the differences between each practices are clear. All of the practices are going to have a similar structure, where we really want you to start with the assumption that you have no evidence of the practice, because you don't. And then as you collect certain kinds of data, you can kind of move up and up and up, and they really are building on each other to work that way specifically. And in most cases, there's really like one main new layer that's being added for both. And again, these can be different practices. They might get a 0 there. Or actually, I feel like it's more likely that they might get a 2 here and a 0 here, something. Okay, let's move on.